Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will going to discuss about the globalization adapting to external environment. Okay, so what is globalization? Globalization is the process of bringing people together and making them interact and exchange ideas across traditional borders. The world, driven largely by advances in technology, has become interconnected across distance and other boundaries. Okay, so from the word interact, so naay communication. Naay communication sa nagkalain-laing mga countries and exchange ideas. So because of globalization, pwede ta maka-share og ideas, knowledge, and informations. So tungod kay advanced na kayo ang technology karon, so naa na tay connection or we are connected from the different countries. We can communicate gamit ang mga technology. Sample na is ang 5-1 Talk. So, ang 5-1 Talk, it is an online English education platform from China nga nag-specialize in providing learners with live online English lesson. So, this company, mostly ang ginahire nila is from Philippines, no? And one of their requirements is fluent and proper accent in English. Next is the global education. Global education extends students' awareness of the world in which they live by opening them to the diverse heritage of human thoughts and action and creativity. So it is one that incorporates learning about culture, geographies, histories, and current issues all over the world. So tanan educators na ay responsibility to create a globally inclusive environment for students. For example, a global classroom can enable students to connect with other ideas and cultures as they evaluate a variety of information. So tanan estudyante deserve a high quality global education. Working together with educators and schools. So next is the characteristics of globalization that can be linked to education. We have the educational terms, economic terms, political terms, cultural terms. So first is the educational terms. So educational terms, when we say educational terms, it is a limited or established period of time that something is supposed to last as a school or court session and tenure in a public office. So mao ni ang schedule sa classes, no, kung kanusa mag-start or mag-end ang klase. So most country is ga-adapt na sa nagkalain-laing schedule from the other countries. Mao kasagari nasod is dungan mag-start og klase ug dungan sab mag-end. So next is the economic terms. So it is about the study of scarcity and choice. Okay, so from the word scarcity, no, it means short of supplies or shortage. So ang education direkta na nga nakaapekto sa economic growth para pag-uswag sa kapital sa tao. So ang economy production is nagdepende na sa nagkalain-laing factors, include na sa physical capital. So ang example na sa physical capital is like machines, cell phones, computers o equipment. So and the technology og sa nagkadaghanon sa trabahante as well as their quality. So kini nga quality is determined or gitawag nga human capital, like the stock of knowledge, skills, and habits. So ang pag-increase sa level sa edukasyon sa mga workers is maka-improve sa ilang human capital, din increasing the productivity of worker or sa output sa ekonomiya. And next is the political terms. Okay, so when we say political terms, politics of patronage. So dili lamang gi-practice sa mga politiko ang sistema sa edukasyon sa Pilipinas. So ang school administrators ga-practice pod ani. So it comes in the form of giving favors to favored employees at the expenses of those who are not within the good graces of their school. So gahatag og expenses ang school administrator no sa mga empleyado, pero mahimo ni siya nga corruption tungod kay ang mga special relations sa mga nga na-established between sa administrators o empleyado. So, because of that, no, it established losses for government of man-hours. Kay tungod kay ang empleyado nga nangayog favor is wala niya gi-perform ang task nga gi-assign sa iya. Like for example, mananghid nga na ay seminar sa laing lugar, so need biya og expenses no for travel, pero ang main reason ang main purpose dai nila is to visit his or her loved ones in that place. So kuan kanang naaday double purpose dai ni no para makasuroy-suroy sila. So the government loses money because this employee abandoned his work. Next is the cultural terms. Attention between the ways in which globalization brings forth standardization and cultural homogeneity, while also bringing more fragmentation to the rise of locally oriented movements. Okay, so as a cultural, so we have as a teacher, no, in the educational arena, the teachers have make or create avenues where students will have to create cultures, not just of their own, but even cultures of the different countries, no, or cultures around the world, around the globe. So it's cultural that we expect now, but we bring work standardization and cultural homogeneity, and we will have only one world. We have one globe, but again, as a culture, we vary so much, no? So sometimes the saying now we have to be different. It's not a deficient, but we have to appreciate in a cultural terms. So the tension comes with the differences, but pwede ta mag acculturated, no, but learning the cultures of other country, but dili nato kalimtan ang atong own cultures or ang atong previously learned. Next, we have the aspects of globalization. First is the industrial globalization or the nationalization. Okay, now when we open the industrial globalization or nationalization refers the rise and expansion of multinational and transnational enterprises. Okay, so now So when we open the different sectors of our community in the Philippines to the different parts of the globe, okay, so one of the example in education is we can have an online education. So pwede ta makaskwela sa different countries through online, or we just physically in the Philippines, but it's transnationalism, referring to the rise and expansion of multinational o transnational relations sa industrial group of the globalization. So kinahanglan nato no i-redesign on reconfigure and ang curriculum that we have, and ug mao ang pag-adapt sa international competences of the different industries. So dili ta mag-produce og students or graduates who working here, or who are only equipped the skills with knowledge and values needed. So lisod kaayo no, lisod kaayo na that's why kinahanglan ni i-address nga issues under or even Japanese base or own factories or business establishment nga American based diri sa Pilipinas. So sayo na lang sa ato to connect or design and reimagine kung unsa nga klase sa education ang atong i-cater, or that we will be catering needs of the internet. Next is the financial globalization. Financial globalization, it is financial requirements. Okay, so it is always one of the, or kanang usa ni siya kanang problema nga atong giko ng atubang sa atong country karon no. So kung atong sulbaron ang mga issues and concerns sa global education no, example ana is ang globalized education, but we have the worldwide financial markets. Kung diin kinahanglan nato no i-improve ang economic standing diri sa Pilipinas. So kung diin parihara og level sa laing countries, and if financially we cannot have that, so we can have a loan or the soft loans and the World Bank in America or other countries. So nga kanang willing mag-support sa ato financially. So para matabangan ta na masolusyonan ng issues and concern for globalization diri sa Pilipinas. Next is the political globalization. Okay, so political globalization refers to the spread of political sphere of the interest to the regions and countries outside the neighborhood of political actors, and the potential formation of a global citizens movement. Okay, so movement of the government as an institution has this particular. It should be the prime movement sa pag-improve to improve and skipping of education. So karon in the different sectors, so such as the economic institution, other units, dili lang sa government pati na sa private. So para sa private sectors no, or for us to be part sa other countries in relation of globalization. Next, we have the cultural globalization. Cultural globalization refers to the growth of cross-cultural contacts. Okay, so this is not So this is not the big problem diri sa Pilipinas. Tungod kay ang mga Pilipino are considered as cosmopolitan, and when we say cosmopolitano, we are citizens of the world. Nga dali ra makasabot og i-appreciate nga naay differences sa atong cultures, and we can accept not the difference towards sustainable development, dili lang sa Philippines but around the globe. Okay, so next is the informational globalization. We are into a global or sa digital community, no? So informational globalization refers to increase information flows between geographic remote locations. For example, in education, the teacher let their students to visit America virtually and learn sa ilang cultures, o para kanang makita ang mga structures nga ilado sa Amerika or cultures sa Japan. Bisan pag dili maka field trip physically ang mga estudyante dito, pero pwede maka virtually tour ang mga estudyante sa different countries in your classes, no? So kana nga paagi is ma-appreciate sa mga students ang culture sa other countries, bisan pa og dili physically visited in that countries, no? Bisan pag dili gid ka mismo ni adto dito nga country, pero ma-appreciate gyapon nimo ang ilang cultures through virtual. Okay, so next is the aspects of globalization. So globalisms. Okay, so when we say globalism, it refers to the universal internationalist impulse that the world is connected. It refers to the connection between cultures, nations, and the peoples, embodies cultural diffusion. The desire to consume and enjoy foreign products and ideas, adopt new technologies and practices, and participate in the world culture. Okay, so globalization and its impact on education. So we have the content of education. The curriculum upgradation. So the modern advances in information technology have revolutionized, among others, the content of knowledge and the processes of educational transaction. So isa sa dako nga problema and that is the adaptability of the use of technology. So tanan nga procedure and in the pandemic or karon no nga panahon sa pandemic, or now nga naata sa new normal, ang mga educators or mga teachers is ma-force gyud no nga ma-force gyud no to do flexible learning, or ma-force sila to do a computer education and apply sa kanang technology oriented techniques and strategies in the teaching learning process. So ang teacher o ang kanang estudyante no kay kinahanglan jud mag-adjust bitaw sa new normal na nahitabo karon, like sa pandemic. So dapat nga kita as a student or as a teacher, kinahanglanon nga mo adapta or mag-adjust ta kung unsa ang na-change sa karon nga panahon. Kung kibali kay tungod sa pandemic, kinahanglanon jud nga para mapadayon ang pag eskwela, so dapat nga mo adapt ka sa bag-o nga kanang curriculum, which is the blended learning. So next is the fallout of the globalization. Okay, so internationalization of education. So when we say internationalization of education, it is implicit in the system of globalization is the inevitability of the internationalization of the educational system, particularly at the higher education stage. Okay, so implicit the system of globalization is the inevitability of the internationalization of the educational system, particularly no sa anang higher education stage. Okay, so supposedly it was this was the proposal nga there must be lessening or curriculum or commission and higher education must be internationally based ang competencies dapat internationally based, no, pero naay problema no in the budget, especially in the state universities and college. Pero karon nag-start na og pag-comply sa mga requirements, no, ang uban higher education institution kay na-endorse na para sa international ranking, no, like sa University of Cebu Technological University. We are envisioning nga to be part sa ranking, no. So if makasulod ta na nga ranking, so meaning nakuha nato ang minimum requirements for international base or global standards. Okay, next is the content of education. So productivity orientation. So when we say productivity orientation, the basic objective of globalization is to enhance productivity and to make the educational system an instrument in preparing students who can compete in the world markets as productive members of society. So if you are in the hospitality management, dili lang kay magamit ka og standard sa Philippines as far as hospitality management is concerned, but kinahanglan gihapon nimo magamit og international or global standards. So example ana for education is the curriculum must be production of world class teachers, no, dili lang kay local teachers, not the global teacher, but teaching competencies must be used, or industrial technology, kinahanglan ka mag-produce og automotive students gamit ang global standards. So kinahanglan ta mo participate dili lang sa local kundi sa international scene. We act local pero kinahanglan ta mag-think global, or we have to think global standards, no? Okay, so next is the privatization of secondary and higher education. As a corollary to the suggestions about reducing public investment in secondary and higher education, a play has been made to hand over these sectors to private bodies. So Like for example, the Philippines airline, the Philippines airline owner or ang tag-iya na is ang government. Pero karon it is quantity privatized, uh, the private personnel. Yeah, government entails a lot of budget, but if you privatize private corporation or unit para ma-improve ang service no for education, but natay state universities and colleges, it must be controlled no all over the course offerings or programs or board courses, for board programs. Okay, so privatization of education is kadtong mga schools or institute nga which are run by non-governmental bodies in a state, providing better facility, amenities in exchange of money. So one example is the Delhi Public, which is a private organization and provides educational curricular activities like swimming, dancing, painting in exchange of monthly remuneration. Okay, so lahi ang pagdumala sa bisan unsang negosyo no. Like lahi ra gid ang pagdumala sa private o sa public. So kay kung unsa ang mahimo sa mga private enterprises or business, kay naay mahimo sa mga private enterprises or business pero dili mahimo sa gobyerno bisan pag doble nga gasto. So the only condition should be no room for corruption no. Dapat wala joy corruption.